Hey, welcome to Live and in Person on YouTube. Tonight we have a special guest with Indie Brokers. I want to welcome ID to the stage. How you doing today, ID?
Hey, what's going on, Scott?
Oh man, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Actually, I'm not doing great. I had to actually start doing yard work today, so that's
Oh,
right.
yeah. Oh, I know what it's like, man. Yeah. Yo,
Yeah.
I've been doing yard work the past couple weekends, going to help out my assistant out in Dallas and my grandmother. But all good equity, I would say, putting back into the family, huh?
Nice,
So,
nice. So so we uh, do this space. It is kind of our way of educating.
mhm.
It is bringing other projects that we feel are valid in the space that have a lot of potential, and we are sharing them with our community so that they can take a look and make up their own mind if they find value in it or not, right? And I've talked to you a couple of times, and I think what you're building is absolutely awesome. So
Oh,
before
thanks.
we get started, why don't we do like a brief introduction? Tell us a little bit about yourself and, how long have you been in Web3?
Okay, no problem. Well, I appreciate being on the platform first and foremost, Scott.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so basically my name is ID. That's what friends call me. ID the CEO. I'm actually an artist. So I came into the Web3 side of things from being like, songwriter, seeing the different things that were preached to me through blockchain about how, royalties and splits would change the music industry back in the, what was it, say 2015, 2017-ish, kind of thing. Didn't really get my foray into it until I did my first transaction, which was actually on January 5th, 2021. I did my first crypto transaction the day before January 6th. That's how I would always remember it. Um, it's ironic as it is, right?
Yeah.
So, and that really, I got into that because I was in finance, as my day job, working for New York Life as a financial professional, helping people with life insurance, health insurance, things of that nature.
Mhm.
Travel, different things in finance, helping them set up family planning and, things of that nature, final expense. And, as I'm helping an individual who had all this crypto, he had a bunch of Bitcoin, and the bull run of Bitcoin in the end of 2020, he wanted to know how to protect it. He was getting nervous. I don't know what's going to happen. I got to take care of my building, my business. How do I use this new currency? What do I do? Right. So when I was trying to actually get some coverage for him, and I realized that, hey, this company has been around for over 100 years and can't cover this man who's been around for just almost as long, because he has this new digital currency, I knew something had to change.
Yeah.
And that's when I, really started to say, okay. And it was really that week, right when that happened in January 6th, that week, and I got 10 toes down and got a couple of my friends went on Clubhouse and say, hey, let's talk about this thing. And that became season 1 of crypto trading and trading with indie brokers.
Nice.
And then we did a year later, we did the same thing in 2022, and we focused that on artists. So that's what brings me here today, just working with artists and then in the Web3 space.
Awesome. Awesome. So what would you, I know you have a pretty vast music background.
Mhm.
And I know that is tying into your project quite a bit, but what how would you summarize indie brokers if you had to do it in, 2 or 3 sentences?
Well, first of all, Indie Brokers is an agency for enterprise and individuals, right?
Mhm.
So that's first and foremost. We're for the entrepreneurs, right? The gig workers, the freelancers, the people out there contracting, and we find the solutions for them as we help them build their businesses and their enterprises, you know. So that's mostly what we do at Indie Brokers, right? So in transitioning, what we are as Indie Brokers, it's the same thing in the decentralized community, right?
Mhm.
And in the decentralized community, we're just taking indie brokers as a corporation and turning it into a DAO in the decentralized communities, so to speak.
Nice. So what you're saying is if someone's got talent and they want to take it on the Web3 platform or, take it to Web3, you guys are the people to talk to.
I say right now, that's a lot of what's attraction is really in that space specifically. Hey,
Mhm.
where's the money? Where's the jobs? Where
Yep.
where do I go? How do I build my idea? And those are the things we kind of help people with.
Nice. Nice. So is it strictly promotional and financial services, or do you guys do anything beyond that?
Okay, so
Like
definitely a great
reporting
question.
or
Yeah,
yep.
definitely a great question, right? It's like, so are you guys marketing? Are you consulting? Like, what are you actually doing, right?
Right.
So what we actually are doing as a community, we invite the different professionals and what they do. So we have marketing professionals who are part of our community to provide those services, right? Because they're still looking to freelance to provide those services. A lot of times they're providing them to people within our own network, right? Because those are the people who need the services. So it's right there in the community for them. So that's the advantage both ways. So we're marketing us as the community that can not only, get you business, but also be the solution to the things that you're looking for. And the thing is, the product that we have that is the consumer based product as far as financial services that we're offering, it's just courses right now. We're just trying to
Mhm.
give people like, light, one-on-ones, really non-invasive things that we're doing on Clubhouse or Twitter Spaces, right? We're going to be doing those, moving forward on Wednesdays, more consistently. But we're really just trying to give people information. That's really what we're trying to do right now. In the space of being a financial professional, someone who's licensed in the state of New York, there's a lot of different things that, as far as like running an agency right now, we don't technically run an agency because we haven't gone through all the protocols to say that we are an agency
Mhm.
financially giving advice to certain people. And I know that there's certain liabilities that we can have by saying we're giving advice,
Right.
so we stay out of that space. A lot of what we're doing is saying, hey, subjectively this is what worked for this client,
Mhm.
subjectively this is what worked, based on some of this data, and we're here to provide that to you, and if it works, great. And what we, as far as how we making money in our business model, is more of what we're doing to raise money, for the different projects that we have. So the projects that raise money, then we'll take a percentage of those, or for those specific, fees that have to be, tangible. That's
Nice.
what we are now.
Yeah, and so you're really not any different than anything else out there, right? Essentially, I'm not throwing shade or anything. I'm using it in a general aspect. So not exactly what you guys are doing specifically, but what most companies do is they provide a product and they tell the benefits of that product. And if consumers find value in that, then they invest in it, right? And like
Mm.
what you're saying is, you're showing that, hey, in this instance, that has very similar aspects to what you're doing. This worked really well, right?
Mm.
And I would recommend that might be a direction we want to go, but you're not really giving that full on advice. You're just kind of directing, right?
Well, for now, and that's by design, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of what we are intending to roll out, we understand how fast the market is moving, right?
Hmm.
Because we are using a lot of different things within our tech stack. So there is proprietary things that we have with indie brokers that we're establishing. Like for instance, we're introducing streaming finance and streaming payrolls to the U.S. market. How are
Yeah.
we going to stabilize the U.S. dollar right now with everything plummeting? These are things that real investors want to know, as well as real people. So it's not just that we're running a service that just said, "Hey, what do you want to do? We can do it faster." It's more the fact that we have tangible information from our expertise that we want to make sure that people come into our consultations to bear witness and actually get that service, that one-on-one service. We believe that's more of the transition, what makes us stand out for people who want to actually embark and work with indie brokers, because we're going to give that TLC and that information that's going to be long term. That's going to be used, over and over again. Where that wealth of information is a lot more valuable than just saying, "Hey, we can tell you this is better than that," and that just means we have more experience reading, and that's what it translates to. But I think overall, no, we don't want to come off too different than anything else, because we want to invite competition into what we're doing so that we can show a lot of people how our touch is a little bit different,
Hmm.
and what we're trying to do to invite people into finding community into a new place of work. So a
Yep.
lot of people have recognized, what we do at Indie Brokers as an opportunity to leave their jobs, just
Hmm.
because our culture is something that they feel a lot more at home with. The way that we have our work days, the way that we just converse with one another, and yet we're still successful in our work pattern. You know, as far as having the opportunity to tell people you can now take the things that you are doing for a side hustle, turn it into a company, and now have that company be represented on chain by creating a DAO with all the people who are going to help you. And these are things that we want to eventually have a product, you know, that's seamless around. We're still building that MVP, as
Hmm.
something that I told you about before.
Yep.
But as we raise for that MVP, you know, that those would be some of the things we provide to the public.
Nice. Nice. So, I mean, there's so much here to unwrap, and that you make it sound so, or you simplify it so well, right?
Mhm.
And I get that, and I love that. And there's so many different aspects here, but I guess
Well,
let's
that
go.
definitely ask me the question that you think everybody else wants to know. I think we could start there.
All right, so let's say I'm an up and coming artist, right?
Hmm.
And I think I have some talent, but I really don't. So, so tell me how you handle that.
That's
And do you
that's a
get a
that's
lot
a
of that?
wonderful question. That's a wonderful question. So a lot of what we understand as far as in the music thing, just shifting on that from the finance side of things, right? As a music executive, right? You know, the one thing we're trying to do one or two things, right? Not just discover, you know, somebody's hot right now, what's making them the it thing right now. We also want to discover what's that long-term thing that's that it right now that's going to have people coming back to listen again, not just listen again right now,
Hmm.
right? Because that's the whole play in, you know, having a catalog, right? If you're going to do music as an advertisement, because still the music we're trying to train them is just a part of the puzzle, you know?
Right.
So those who don't understand that the music is just a commercial, you know, to the
Hmm.
overall product that they really want to be offering, you know, what they are or who they are, then that's a lot of where our primary development comes in. Let's start
Hmm.
there, you know. So then from that, we can start to guide them in ways in how we say, you know what, maybe this isn't the record, right? Maybe this
Right.
isn't the beat. Maybe this isn't the particular time you want to release this because of what you may be translating via social media, right? There are other ways that we can position telling somebody they're not hot by saying this is just whack, right? There's ways that you can actually help an independent artist find out what their actual strength is, right? Have
Hmm.
them dial into that strength, and now you're actually developing them, and that's what we're trying to do as far as our job is concerned. You know, that's what sets us apart. We're not just saying that, you know, this is hot, this is not, and then everything seems so arbitrary, right? Even if you don't know who we are, where we come from, our expertise can come out in the fact that we've taken attention to detail to what you've actually, you know, delivered to us.
Yep. Nice. So what you're saying is you're going to put me in the do not call back file.
Do not call back files are really, I would say the do not call back files are really, you know, something that we're trying to have our AI kind of thing do now.
Hmm.
So to be honest with you, we are trying to implement, you know, those new type of, you know, software services, and a partner that we won't speak on just yet because that's a, you know, little NDA thing that they gave us a little alpha on. So we have a partner in AI that's going to allow us to generally mark the things that either are spam or that come across that have those different sound cues or whatever like that are off balance or whatever the case is, and we're going to be able to file those, and like, and no different than a high powered CRM, you
Hmm.
know.
Yep.
You know, to be quite honest, but it's really to be more effective to help those who've gone through the protocols of what we think are the necessary things that are going to get them to the next step. You know, there are different criteria, but no, by and large, if somebody is not good, they're probably not going to reach us. You know, the way that we're going to have our thing designed, and
Right.
then that gives us more opportunity, I think, to flip the scope on how much bad there is out there when you see an organization handle 250 artists that are quality, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
can handle it at a scale that'll remind you, wait a second, there is a lot, you know what I mean, of good out there. You know what I mean? Just because, you just haven't heard that few and far in between with that concentrated effort that it needs.
Yep. Yep. And I mean, just in the last, well, we'll say in the last year,
Mhm.
the amount of people just in Web3 that I've heard that aren't published, right? That are
Mhm.
just, you know, uh, doing it for talent shows that are in Twitter spaces, right?
Mhm.
And the voices and the talent that they have is amazing, right?
Right.
So that's pretty cool that you're giving them a platform that, can guide them and propel them if they're good enough.
Right. But here's the thing, because I think there's some, I don't want there to be, too much cliche. And when you say giving them a platform, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That, we've heard that before, right? What we want to say is we're giving them a pathway,
Right.
Like the platform, they'll have to grow and rise and hold on to a platform and be responsible for their own platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the pathway is what we're trying to say we're giving them, because we're trying to say, hey, we can directly guide you from there to there, right? And back, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
here are your fees independently, or if you're going to, have a major with you, this is the angle in which they're going to actually look for, repayment, in the same way as you're building an organization. Or matter of fact, that's actually what you are doing. So we're going to already have embedded in what you're doing as an artist, our organization, Indie Brokers, that helps build businesses,
Mm-hmm.
So that framework of building businesses is underneath what we're trying to help you do as an artist or entrepreneur, which is required for you to really be effective in
Yep.
today's marketplace.
Yeah. So I mean, and there's so much to that. There's branding, there's uh yeah, I mean there's a lot that goes behind that. But I want to jump back to when you gave your brief description. And I know
Mhm.
I dove into the music side of things because of our conversations in the past, but the generalization that you put in there means to me, at least it sounds to me, like you could take a person that has an idea for a great startup and even give them guidance, right? So
Mhm.
not necessarily music related. It could be somebody that, came up with the next best fidget spinner. And,
Mhm.
you're like, yeah, we can help you with that. Is that
Right, right. I mean, loosely, right?
right?
Loosely, of course. But I think for the most part, yes, that's what we're trying to say. Because at the end of the day, if there's a market for it, right, or if you've
Hmm.
identified that market, or we have the different tools that can help you identify that market, right?
Right.
Even if it's showing you how to use a chat GPT to say, hey, this is the prompt that you need to be asking to get the information that you're looking for. Okay, now you're turning that into a chart. Okay, now that chart, now you're turning into something that you can take a team member that can now take that chart and start to devise what may be a marketing plan, or who you guys need to target to create sales for these fidgets, right?
Mhm.
This is, I don't know anything about your fidgets, I
Right.
don't even know if they're going to sell. I don't know anything, but
They're the best ones in the world. I mean, they're
right,
amazing.
right,
Yeah.
right. But if they're the best in the world, now we use these tools, right? To determine the data of that. Okay, great.
Hmm.
We do we do the math problems. We make it look nice and pretty, right? And that's the quick, fast, and dirty of it. But then at the end of the day, what are we, the actual grunt work to work with you week over week to make sure each step of what you have to do to build your business is done, right? At least to get it established, and then to be able to say, when we have our app fully developed, okay, now you can truncate that process into what would take 6 months into probably 6 days, right? Because now you can, all those hours are truncated for you to work on your own time, if that's what you so choose,
Hmm.
right? And then you also have that independence, but there's also things that we think about when it comes to security of information and data transfer, things like that. And that's also why we're keen on why we want to build our business early in the Web3 space, right? Because we want to show people how they can control their data, their sensitive data, right? And be able to use it in the commerce situation with individuals that they trust, that they're going to need early on to in the beginning of anything, like building a business, right? So, okay, now just like 20 years ago, you got on PayPal, but PayPal already knew we're going to have to get the banks cool with what's going on. You know what I mean? For you to do these eBay purchases, so on and so forth. That's exactly what we're thinking about as far as indie brokers. We're coming to the artist saying, hey, look, you already know everybody's going to start buying things with crypto. You better start turning your music into something that people can buy. And if not, hook it up to things that people are going to buy with crypto, put it inside that metadata inside those NFTs. And all of that is not anything you probably understand today, which comes into why we're consulting, comes into why you'll be paying a premium to be a part of our a member of what we're doing, so that we can put you in the right direction.
Yep. And I mean, music and NFTs have been coming up, again, we're going back to the music, but it has been making a couple of waves, right? I mean, you've just been seeing more and more. They're doing GM and a few other car manufacturers. They did, vehicle NFTs, and the winning bid also got the physical vehicle, right? Which is kind of crazy that, you can go online, you're bidding on an NFT, and if you win that NFT, not only do you get the artwork, but that NFT is attached to a VIN number that goes to a vehicle that comes with a set of keys that, guess what, is now in your garage, right? I mean, it is where everything is going. I saw it way back, and I didn't understand it. So, like, you talked about Bitcoin a little while back, and having a consumer or a client that wanted to protect it, right? I saw Bitcoin in 2009, and I'm like, there is value here. I just couldn't figure out what the hell it was, so I didn't buy it.
Right. Like a lot of people. I know I saw it in 2009 too. Same thing. That and Uber. Both things I saw in 2009, and I couldn't get the job with Uber. Couldn't figure it out. And then Bitcoin was something that was just like, yeah, that's a little over my head, but seems cool.
And you've seen things evolve, and I don't know that they evolved that far other than more mass adoption, right? And on the last bull run, you saw the most people contributing to Web3 that you ever saw before. But I don't know that the majority of them kind of understand it. They just saw it as a way to make a quick buck, right?
Yeah.
They're like, hey, if I buy this dog coin, I'm going to be a millionaire tomorrow, right? But that's not how it works. But we also saw, big corporations getting involved. We saw some major banks getting involved. And what that tells me, and what is still in the space and still working, is legitimate businesses, like what you're building here, that is looking at the potential and the possibility in Web3, not just putting out, a cool piece of artwork and hoping people buy it. You're actually connecting, something real with, something on Web3 that can make that connection, right?
Right.
And that's what people need to understand, right? That's what people need, is that connection. They need to know that when they're taking that dollar that, was worth a whole lot more a year ago, and they're using that to buy themselves something, and they're exchanging it with a merchant, right? They're getting something in return. Well, that's exactly what you're doing here with this, which is absolutely awesome. And I love that that's your vision and that's what you're building, because that's what we need more of in this space. I don't know that we need, another meme coin, or we need another.
No. What we need right now is for the people who are losing their jobs to find out how to find a new one. Right? That's what we need. What we need right now, we're thinking about USD and what's happening with the value of USD right now. It's because we keep making more of it without trading it for real value back, right? So there's no human capital, there's no imports, it's like, what are we actually consuming but our own ideas that are full of nothing,
Yeah.
like that's really what we keep printing money for, for ideas that don't consume, or that don't produce anything, right? And and, everything's intangible. So we're all podcasters now, and we're creators now, and we're creating, this metadata, but the actual infrastructure behind it, it's like everybody's just jumping on the bus. Nobody understands that there's axles underneath this bus, and it's a
Mhm.
weight limit, and it's a certain engine that makes this bus, move at a certain speed that's safe and everything like that. So, whether you want to use a bus for, example, or airplane, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
like it's, everybody jumped in for one thing, jumped on the boat, you know what I mean? And that is, and we started listing,
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, it's like that everybody thought it was just going on vacation. You know what I mean? They didn't know that, oh, you get on the boat, there's inclement weather, there's safety protocols, there's other things out there in the water that you don't know. Like there's a lot of things that, naturally people didn't take a lot of precaution into. And then you also, and then just like when you get a certain distance, it's like hard to blame, right?
Yeah.
Because some people say, that's what they told me. They said, come over here and this, that, and the third. Well, I saw this and they were promoting this, that, and the third. And I saw this guy, he sold 500,000 of these things for, what was worth, and that's what's promoted, because everybody looks for the fortune and the highlights,
Yep.
We're in this space right now. We've been in this space, we can say, building through what they call, I guess, the bear market, or the winters of crypto.
Yep.
That's primarily where I spent most of my time, making my relationships, learning about different DAOs, learning about different protocols, learning about different tokens, learning about what the space actually was offering people, not just so much of what I know I wanted to use this space for. You know what I mean? To get, lack of better words, my ish off.
Yep.
And that's, something that I credit my brother, who helped me also, on board onto Tron at that time, to learn how to get 1%, everyday mining or whatever it was, to accrue what would have been 365% in a year. And that would have been nice if the whales didn't pull out, but that's neither here nor there.
Yep.
If he's, he taught me, hey, look, man, don't even worry. You're gonna be ambitious. You're gonna be all that kind of stuff, but just go ahead and learn for a year, or however long, before you really put your thing together. And it's been 2 years, and since then, we feel like we've not only got one dev team, but we have 3 amazing dev teams that we can reach out to, as well as freelancers that come in. We have specific HR people who work with us inside of our network to help build other corporations, right? So still, if you're building a company, we still have our, I guess you could say, Web 2 side of business that's still there. We
Mhm.
still can, to provide those services. Not just that we're trying to get everybody to come over to Web 3, right? We still
But
provide that,
you need that, right? I mean, because
absolutely.
you can't just be Web3 and expect people to just say, "Oh yeah, okay, I get it," right? You
Mm-mm.
need to have some kind of a medium for them that they understand, which they understand Web2. They understand traditional, business, that
Mm-hmm.
exchange of the dollar for goods, right? They
Mm-hmm.
understand that. And with that, that is a great way, or a great audience at that point, to introduce Web3 and the potential it has. And once you've
Mm-hmm.
opened those eyes, I mean, that's what we need to do more of, right?
Oh yeah,
And
this platform is a perfect opportunity to open those eyes, right? So let's just talk to the people who really want to be spoken to right now. The people who are creators are leaving their jobs, right? They're doing one or two things. If you left a job right now, this is me giving some advice from me being a financial professional with a reputable mutual company for several years, right? If you just left your job, right, and you were vested in getting benefits with that job to some degree or whatever, you were full time, understand that you probably left some money on the table. There was an employee match or some type of money that was going into the insurance of you being a part of that organization, that when you left there, they kept that money in their coffers, right? So I would say talk to your accountant, talk to someone who if you're switching jobs, especially something like you were furloughed or you work for a big tech company or something like that. This is just information you want to put out there. If you just left a job, you probably have your benefits that they say you couldn't take with you, but there may be a way for you to actually transfer it to the benefits of your new job if you can get those two financial organizations to agree, and that'll be something that I'll teach in a class or something like that. The next thing I would also say is that if you're looking for a situation right now for our dev partners and things of that nature, we have partnered with Cleoverse, right? So there's people who are looking for jobs today. Like, what do we do right now? I need to figure it out right now. Indie Brokers is right now not to say that we're not hiring, we're just inviting people to our community. That's our call to action, because we want everybody in our community to turn into entrepreneurs, to open their own DAOs, and to then therefore help other people. But if that's not where you are today, we are partnered up with Cleoverse, right? You can go to cleoverse.io, right? And we're ambassadors of Cleoverse, and we're also referrers of Cleoverse, the first organization they decided to do that dual relationship with, right? And that's saying that we can bring organizations to Cleoverse that are looking to find people to hire within the Web3 space or the Web2 space. Or if you're in the Web2 space as a gig worker or freelancer or somebody who's a dev or an artist or whatever you're doing as a content creator or anything like that, and you're just looking to say, who needs my services, we can point you to the right place with Cleoverse as well. So that's for people who are looking to get to something right here, right now. Anything else other than that, I would definitely implore you to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram and things of that nature at Indie Brokers. When we have our sites, everything fully up, Scott would be the first to know about it. And all of that. And yes, and I will encourage you all to stay in touch. We also have a Discord. You definitely welcome to follow us on Discord. And if you don't have an invite, we can make sure that you can email us or contact us via DM, and we will send you an invite directly to our Discord.
Nice. And I did bring up your Twitter page. The one thing that you are missing is an apparition.
It's an apparition. What's that? That sounds like a ghost.
Oh, come on.
An apparition.
Come on.
What's an apparition? Tell me what that is. Is it an NFT? Is it something cool?
What that is. Apparition is our real world NFC products and app. And that's what this is right here. Check this out. This is totally free for you.
Nice.
All you got to do is you go to myapparition.com and you can set up this profile page with all your links.
Oh, that would be so nice. Yeah,
and
we need to do something like that, right?
Yeah, if you have an iPhone, not only can you set it up, but you can buy our NFC products, which we have all kinds of cool shit. Excuse my language.
No, listen.
We have all kinds of cool stuff that you can actually just program right from your phone. That all you have to do is hold it out and people can tap it with their phone and it brings it all up on their phone.
Oh, that's exactly what I was looking for when I was in South by Texas, Austin, South by Southwest. I was like, oh man, I want something sustainable, digital. They could just tap, they could just look, and I forced people to have to take a screenshot of what I created, a digital. Just being ingenuity on the moment. But this is exactly what we're looking for. This is totally great.
We have it. We've got it all. Pop sockets. I mean, they all work. You just tap your phone and it brings up whatever information you save on it. And the Apparition app is totally free to use, and you get your own URL with that and QR code. So you could just copy the QR code and print it, and people can scan that with their camera and bring it up.
Yeah, QR codes is definitely the wave. I mean, just the things that you can put behind a QR code now, you
Yeah.
know, it's that's really now always, and that's one thing that I did research from back when I first thought I was developing for the playbook back in 2000, it was late 2009, 2010 for BlackBerry. Um, that was one of the things I was looking into QR codes back then, and I thought that they could do what they're doing now, but you
Hmm.
know, now it's even more than I can imagine. But before I get too far off of what we were talking about, what do people want to know? What are we doing differently? This is some of the things that I really want to like open up to letting people know. There's some things right now as an artist in the music industry, right? You're indie, you're trying to make it, you're trying to do what you're trying to do. You're putting yourself on all these other platforms, right? You got your stuff on the Apple Music, you got your stuff on the Tidal, the Spotify, right? Then you find out these algorithms aren't playing fair, and what you'll have to do to get your stuff heard on all these different algorithms, right?
Hmm.
Well, at the end of the day, there's two things that you can do right now, right? You can continue to play the game of I need the streams, right? But you got to be understanding of that next part of that game that's happening. And that's that the labels aren't going to argue anymore for those people who play that game, meaning that it speaks for itself. If you can't outproduce the robots who may make a song better than you and get more streams than you're in trouble, okay? Because that's where that game is going, right? If you're going to play that game. If you're looking for an impact, impact is seen in the people. And that's in how many people is actually going to show up on your behalf, either to your events, your appearances, your meet and greets, things that actually force the human to come out and interact with you, not just what you're doing as far as a view or stream or like anything digitally. Now, if you can get ahead and connect those two, then you can possibly put yourself in contention to do business with the organizations who want to know who
We lost you.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't know why my
No
assistant
worries.
calling me in the middle of
We lost you at who? You were getting to the climax, and I'm like on the edge of my seat, and then
oh no. Okay, listen. Yeah, sorry about that. So
all
listen,
good.
the second part of that is to say, okay, now if you're not worried about, going that whole auto route, whatever like that, it's about the people, right? So bringing yourself back to, the people of, your events, your tickets, things of that, they're going to make you tangible. You're going to have to do both. And if you can't do both, right, we're the people who's trying to help people understand how to do both. So you digitize your business as well as keep your IRL component. That's understanding the value of your music as where to place it, right? The timing of knowing that, hey, yeah, you need to pivot left, put your song with the TV show. Okay, now the time is the TV show that you pick means that you need to do an appearance in your local town because that's where it's going to resonate the most, that you got your song played on the TV show, not to other people who don't even know you, to see how big you've gotten or not how big you've gotten, that they don't know. Like, so it's different ways to draw that resonance from
All
the.
those bastards in high school that said I'd never make it.
Yeah, yeah. You got to go back there. You got to get them on camera. You got to do content there that everybody gets to see that side of you, Then you got to balance that with the other side. And now the investors find out, oh, that's why we like the artist. You know what I mean? So you got to play this volley back and forth when we know how to put the hex together. So that's the part of our elixir. That's part of what we're trying to train people to also learn, train some of our AI models and what will become, those people who are going to, eventually bot out exactly, what it is that we do. But the last thing that I want to add, and this is one thing I would be remiss if I don't say that we're going to be a part of doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
For artists, we're trying to give you benefits, right? That means give you a job. That means no more your baby mom, your mother, or your girlfriend acting like you ain't nothing because you're working on a tape. Yes, we're trying to actually make it so that you have a legitimate job. How do you have a legitimate job? Well, you're gonna have to go through the process of what we designed for you to go through our 6-step process, whether it take you 6 days or 6 months, that's on you,
Mhm.
right? Now, however you pay for the 6 days or 6 months, that'll be determined in the membership. From there, what we're trying to say is, look, you're gonna have your music, own your music, show you how to take that, and now your music is the house that she said that you don't own. Now those songs end up turning into the car that she said that you can't drive, or that you can't obtain it for whatever reason you can't afford,
Mhm.
right? Now we start to turn all these things that were nothing into something by giving them a digital label, right? That digital label now has a job behind it, an AI job behind it, and you are the one in control of it. And your people, your fans, are the ones who help you with the decisions on how you run it, right? Where should you tour? What should you wear here? All those kind of things that you do with your community anyway on social media, you can still do in your DAO. And now you can give these people credit for helping you. So back to you and your benefits. One of the main things about what we're trying to say is, if you're actually putting your music right now today on these streaming platforms, there is an AI company that wants to give you an advance. Yep. That means
Wow.
you actually can get an advance for the music you already put out and the music you're about to put out as an independent artist. And no, you're not signing to anybody's company. It is no different from in a business. Say you got a bunch of inventory, and now you got some people who want to buy it, but you got to kind of build the inventory first. They
Right.
just take a purchase order on it. Well, that's the same way they can use your music. You kind of take a purchase order on it to say it's probably going to sell this because your last songs did this, and with these features or these new releases, we project you probably get a few more, and then over time it'll be worth a little bit more because you'll be that much bigger of an artist.
Mhm.
So we tie in all these things into your algorithm to show, yeah, right now the parameters are, if you got at least 5 to 10,000 subscribers or fans or whatever through your socials, you're putting out music on these apps. Okay, there's only one more step to really make sure that you're professional, and that's a lot of people who already know they need to be with ASCAP BMI, if not with a CSAC or a Sound Exchange or a Song Trust, and make sure that all this stuff is registered. You don't know how to do that? Once again, that's where we help you, and we can get you from registration to establishing your whole LLC into a DAO, to make sure all your data is protected. And then now we have a whole team of helping you release your music the same way you would on all the platforms. But not only you getting IRL bookings, you're getting bookings in the metaverse. You're getting bookings to show up to like YouTube shows like this. All around the world, people want to see you in different type of places, and we can help facilitate that entire schedule for you. So now we fill up your schedule with meetings, with podcasts, with new interviews, with new opportunities to meet new creative directors, with opportunities to get on new platforms and new DAOs, to build new projects and collaborate all the time. And now all in that is wrapped in the underlining or the infrastructure of, this is your business. So these are your business partners. These are your teammates who are helping you all along the way within the community, listening to your music and supporting your struggle. And my violin is done.
Nice. Uh, no, that is awesome. And there's so much there that for anybody, you know.
Mhm.
I mean, this could work on multiple different levels, not just as a musician or a music artist,
Mhm.
but it could work on real life business model. It could work on a crypto project or an NFT project, but you have to have more to it than just a cool picture of a monkey, or
Right,
a token that is named after a dog, right?
right. I mean,
Um,
it's more to it than that, and I think that I don't want to shade the people who come up with those ideas, which maybe hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people love. Right? I don't want to shade what may be a good idea. There's no monopoly on a good idea. That's what I like to say. Right? So, fact is, if that works, it's what works, but for how long, right? And really what we're trying to let people understand is as they're coming into this space, it's nothing's built yet. It's like, yeah, we're trying to build the airport. We can't take off yet. We're building an airport, or it's a house. Like, you
Yep.
can't. There's no lights. We got to build. We got to build it. Then the lights come. And then we can sell it, and then you can show it off to people. But right now, we got to build it. And I think a lot of people are in a space where they want AI because they want things instantaneous. They want things built for them as they speak and as they think almost. But then they're scared of being out of control when something is doing all of that for them as well. So there's definitely uh how should you say cognitive dissonance that humans are starting to have with themselves with technology. Like, wait a second, I want this as fast, but I don't want to move as fast as it needs that is going to actually be there. I'm so hungry. Oh wait, I wasn't ready for the DoorDash to be outside, or the Uber to be outside waiting for me. I was just so ready to go and just be on my phone to press the buttons and think that something's happening on the other side. I think that's really, if we could slow people down, which is why my music, even me recording, I try to make slower songs now, just because I want people to hear more of what I'm actually saying. And to be almost that reverse thrust to everything on a double time, double tap, especially in hip hop, which we listen to a lot, just to slow it down, bring back old chords, bring back old symphonic sounds, ease into people into more lo-fi type of music, that allows more thinking and creativity. Little things like we're trying to do for health and wellness, along the lines of, yeah, we're doing AI, but how are we doing it in a way that's helping people really on a general level, on a basic level, on a life level, and furthermore, even if they're gonna have tokens and things of that nature, we want to show them what superfluid is about, right? Because now you can learn about tokens that you don't have to, worry about these gas fees, or you don't have to worry about, all these things. It's a fluid token that is being sent, by the second to somebody, so this is going to free up capital reserves. You know what I mean? This is going to allow for investors to understand I can make an agreement to a certain amount of money, and yet on my ledger over time I still have the amount of, you know what I'm saying? I don't give away my whole 100,000 in one swoop. I'm giving away my 100,000 in a consistent stream, that over these specific benchmarks, when this, is met, then this amount is released, to do whatever it needs to do. That type of controlled same way when, oh my God, I'm paying so much for these subscriptions, now I can stop this subscription, you know what I mean? At this point in the subscription, they can get this amount of money. I can keep this amount of money. And yes, my subscription may not renew, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not losing any more money than I'm deciding when this relationship is to be terminated, and they don't lose any more than, you know what I'm saying, whatever was agreed from that moment I decided to terminate it. So those type of things that we can do technology wise, that helps all industries, we hope that the right people are listening. We would like to, not to see the USD go too far down. You know what I mean? We do work with stable coins, but that's where we are.
Yeah. I mean, that the US dollar is a whole nother conversation.
Right.
I think you saw Mistress Money in the space, and you hit on her hot spot, subscriptions, right? But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. The technology that's there has the ability to move faster than what we have in Web 2, and can be more immediate than what we have in Web 2. So, and that goes back to your point of AI and creating something, right? And getting it faster than what you're prepared to have it. I mean, there's so much potential here. It's just a matter of people understanding it. And when they understand it, they will start to mass adopt and get into it. But I'm going to lighten it up a little bit here. So, as a musician yourself, what was the music act that's made you say, you know what, man, I really dig this. I want to give this a try.
The music act?
Yeah, or the group, the band, the the artist.
That made me want to take music seriously?
Yeah.
Well, I have a lot of musical influences, right? To be quite honest with you. But I think that I probably most credit ninth grade going to see 8 Mile with my parents.
Okay.
As I probably credit that. With with Eminem at the time, I was a fan of a rising artist in 50 Cent that year in 2002. So that fall 2002 in New York City was a big rise of 50 Cent locally, and then what became his national stardom the year after, in the years to come. So seeing Eminem work with Dr. Dre, and then also open the lane, even as a super duper star, rapper from the Midwest that was kind of like West Coast because of his label. He had worked with this East Coast artist, and then he had a movie, but the movie was how he was a nobody, like, and how to, like, all of that you're really doing, you're making a movie out of yourself, how when you were a nobody. And that's what he went through, is like similar stories. And then the way he rapped, so it was just like everything off the top of his head was just, and of course I've seen it before, but now I'm in ninth grade and like I'm going to see this movie for that reason. And just the impact I was left with, I would say, I was in.
Nice. Yeah, and that, I'll tell you, that was a really powerful movie on multiple levels. Like you were saying, he had I think maybe a few hits out at that point, right? When the movie,
he was definitely
and
on top of it, for sure.
Yeah, but he's sharing this movie that definitely wasn't, like, that's the life I want to lead, right?
Right.
But it shows how he overcame everything and got to where he is, right? Or started that journey. And that's what I love about that movie. I think that it is a fantastic movie.
Yeah,
But,
it's definitely the journey. And then 50's version of his, that I also can relate to, not so much with the getting shot, but but just the neighborhood, and what the elements, and what happens in school, what happens with your family, what happens with your friends and your girlfriend, and just as you're trying to do something, and it feels like the whole world is against you trying to do something, and that's how it feels as being an entrepreneur as well, not just an artist. So I like to speak for a lot of the people who look like me, who come from my area. I wear this hat for representing the Locks because that's like an artist group that I love since I was a kid, from areas that I've grown up. I feel like they, in all the other music, they always have some type of message that can get through for those who want to listen. And and just overall, like, I also know that these are people who are identifying different spaces now, right? So they have juice bars now. They're into workout and the health and wellness now. They also in the crypto space. Styles P, is also in the crypto space, providing NFTs and stuff like that. Getting early in on this type of technology, things of that nature, just showing our community how we can, be more resourceful to one another. And using the music is just a commercial for whatever we want to do. Just like a jingle. Now imagine all these different companies and the way music sells all this stuff. It's like everybody got a Web2 company that need a jingle. Where's all the artists that can make jingles? You know, where's all the artists? Everybody has all this content. We're gonna put, for podcasts and movies and stuff like that. Where the artists gonna put the music behind that? You know, where's all that? And where's all the banks and stuff like that who see all these young people about to do these things, and they about to start up different programs to start loaning into them, to start making sure that these grants are available, that these endowments are available for them to go to different schools to learn these different trades. So there's not just companies like me that got to charge them for it, that we see that there's actually so much of a need for it that you can have us, come provide it through the government, and then we can offer these services for free into the community.
Yep.
There's things like that we'll talk about in the future as well.
Nice. Well, man, it has been a fast hour. We have about 4 minutes left, so let's do some closing statements, any shout outs, and we'll have to have you back. Maybe join us on a Friday night. We do
you
do our NFT Freedom.
Yeah, great chat. I would love to come back Friday night. I would love to really more take advantage of platforms like this, because I want to be clear, we're still building. There's nothing, non-authentic about what we're doing, right? I work this every day, and when I leave this conversation, I'm going to another conversation and work on some more of this. That's going to be followed up by working with some more people who are just waking up in India, who are working with us. So, so it's an around the clock effort that we're putting behind this. And we're taking it really seriously. But other than that, there's also a love and a passion, to some of these ideas, to see them, wanting to come to fruition. So to be on platforms like this, to express things like this with you, Scott, and be able to say, hey, look, you may not remember anything of what I said, he went up there talking about this and that and this and all that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, we just want to make it easier for people to get paid and to travel and to live healthier, right? So whether you're an artist, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you a developer or whatever, you're a nurse, we know you want to eat good, we know you want to travel, and you rather really not having to worry about money, whether you're here or when you're gone. Right. So those principles are things that we interweave into how we're building our community. And yes, there's a place for you with us today, tomorrow, maybe the next day, right? But for now, you can just follow us how you follow us, and we'll be sure to give you as much value as we can each time that we can give it to you.
Absolutely. That is awesome. And you said something earlier that just stuck, is you guys show the pathway, right? You guys provide the pathway. It is up to the person that's coming to you for help to follow through with it, right?
Absolutely.
You guys can say, hey, this is where your next step should be. This is, what you should be doing next. And this is what you need to be doing, in 2 weeks or a month or whenever. And, it is up to them to follow through on it if they believe in it themselves, right? And, we're seeing that really, it's been noticeable in the last year in Web3. We've seen all these projects fold. They've gone under, they're still folding. You're still seeing, projects that were booming, a year ago that are like, okay, well, you know what? The market sucks. We give up. See ya.
Right. And that's the wrong attitude. We don't want that.
Right.
So our call to action is to, against anybody who's not that, we're looking for 250 of you out there in the world, right? Who want to prove that theory wrong, who want to prove that you're not just out here for no reason, that if you got a 10K grant, you do right by it, and that you make the right decisions with building the right things for this community.
Yep. Awesome. Shout out to Miss Colette and Mistress Money in the house.
Yes. Shout out to y'all. Absolutely.
Yes. She is our co-host for Friday nights for our NFT Freedom series. That is not shilling anything. That is just about financial freedom and how to obtain it. And we share that with having licensed professionals join us. We talk about personal experiences. where, Rochelle and myself, we're not licensed, to give financial advice, so you can't take it from us, but we can share our personal experiences and what we've went through personally and what we've done to overcome that. And you can take that with a grain of salt and do what you want with it, right? If you find value in it and you want to do something, great. But you should check that out. It's every Friday, 8 p.m. ID, I really appreciate you joining us. And like I said, hit me up. We'll have you on a Friday night. This week is a charity week. You're more than welcome to pop on if you're interested. Let me know. It's charity in Web3, and we'll see how that goes. But we have definitely one special guest. I'm hoping for a second that will be able to tell what they're doing and how they're implementing it. But yeah, and it's all leading up to hopefully our convention that will be later this year in Louisiana. So we're excited for that.
Nice. Yeah. Can't wait for it. So definitely we'll be in touch, because what we definitely want to make sure we're informing the people, or if it's not me, it'd be somebody on the behalf of indie brokers who will be there speaking on what our streaming payments and benefits can offer for independent artists who are going to be a part of our platform.
Absolutely awesome. Yeah. So again, just reach out to me if you're interested in participating on a Friday night, man. We'd love to have you. You're just a wealth of information, and it just, like Rochelle, myself, it sounds like you have plenty of personal experience that you could share, right? And that's I feel like that goes a lot further than having someone saying, this is how you do it this way and this way only, and that's the way everyone else does it. And that is better to hear those failures, right? Like, I did this and man, I fell flat on my face, and I wouldn't recommend that. Right?
Exactly. People want to know what's real nowadays. So that's right. So that's what we're trying to brand ourselves around, that authenticity, for sure. But it's definitely great to be here, Scott. So definitely we'll look forward to the next one.
Absolutely. Hey, I appreciate you, and we'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one, guys.